What's up, everybody, and welcome to the SP and Bushy Show. I'm SP, he's Bushy. We are back, and we are two lifelong friends who started a podcast together. What's up, Bushy?
I'm doing good, my man. Doing pretty good. I'm excited. Playoff football is upon us, man.
Playoff football is upon us. We had a great NCAA championship game on Monday night. Congrats to the Georgia Bulldogs. Finally getting it done. First time in our lifetime that the Bulldogs raised the trophy.
I know. Yeah, it's the first time. Yeah, it is the first time in our lifetime that we've gotten to see Georgia actually raise the trophy. And they've always been a decent team, but never that team that always made it to the top. It really hasn't until Kirby Smart really started coming along that they really started to compete for national championships.
Excellent. Well, congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. They're partying. And we are partying as well. That's right. It is the Vic Fangio going away party. And much like the South Park going away party that Cartman threw for Kyle Broflovsky, Vic Fangio is not invited. We are just celebrating that he's gone. Bye, Vic.
Yes, thank God he is gone. We've been calling this for about 2 years now. He's finally gone.
Well,
he had that 1 year to prove it. Yeah, he should have been fired last year. We've been clamoring on it for the show that he should be fired.
We should have, and I mean, I feel like a lot of the national pundits that I've listened to this week, the Rich Eisen show, basically made it sound like had he just had a QB, that the Broncos team could have gotten it done, and I don't think that's the case at all. He linked his horse to the horrible Pat Shurmur offense, and while the defense was good, Vic Fangio was never a good coach. I would argue he was worse than Vance Joseph was in the Vance Joseph era.
I mean, it's just very, very frustrating, too, because it's just, yeah, he's built on defense. Everybody says, oh, yeah, he's built on defense. He's built on defense. I mean, this has been going on for 3 years now where you expect them to really get a defensive stop, and it hasn't happened in 3 years. It happened against the Chicago Bears in 2019. It happened against Jacksonville in 2019. We let Gardner Minshew turn into one of these amazing people. It happened against the Colts in 2019 against Jacoby Brissett. I mean, it happened with the Tennessee Titans in 2020. It should have happened to the Raiders in 2019, but obviously he lucked out with that. But then obviously it happened with 2020 against the Raiders as well. And it just happened too against KC. Just when you want them to get a stop, they can't do it.
Well, yeah, his defense couldn't get stops in the big times. And if you look at it, I mean, there have been plenty of good coordinators who went on to be terrible head coaches. Wade Phillips comes to mind, and, I mean, we talk about it, Bushy. This season especially, they had the easiest schedule in the NFL by far.
That's the frustrating thing. Yeah.
They had the NFC East, which they did go 3-1 against. But 4 of Vic's 7 wins this year, Bushy, 4 of his 7 came against teams that are drafting in the top 5 next year. The Jaguars, the Jets, the Giants, and the Lions.
Yeah, really couldn't get it done. And then obviously 1-5 against the AFC West. That's not a good thing. And you're losing to the Raiders twice. I mean, that's just really unacceptable too. And I mean, you got handily beaten, and then you had a lead, but then really, I mean, you got physically dominated on defense too in that second half against the Raiders.
They really got manhandled in almost all of these division games. I mean, they were close with the Chiefs, can't get it done. And at some point, you got to be able to get it done. And you look at it, I mean, we talked about the division this year. They go 1-5. Last year, again, terrible record against the division. I believe they had, one win against the Chargers?
Yeah, they went 1-5. And really, I mean, they should have been 0-6 if it wasn't for a crazy fourth quarter comeback against the Chargers, really. I mean, they should have been 0-6. So, yeah, I mean, he's 2-10 in the past 2 years against the AFC West.
That's never going to get it done. It's never going to get you to the playoffs. And honestly, like I said, obviously we are in a good division. That goes without saying. But the fact that he can – I mean, you're never going to make the playoffs if you're that bad against the division. And you want to talk about the quarterback play. All these people were trying to make excuses for him, saying that the quarterback play wasn't there. I mean, if you look at the past few years, there have been plenty of teams that may not have had the best quarterback but still had success deep in the postseason, even went to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who's under a lot of fire in San Francisco, was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. You look at it also before that, you had Jared Goff, again, not a great quarterback, led the Rams to the Super Bowl. You have Blake Bortles, who was one win over New England away, and the referees even had a big piece of that from taking the Jaguars to the Super Bowl, 3-4 years ago? So I said, you can have success with a mediocre quarterback. And Vic Fangio could only beat the trash teams in the league. Good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance. I mean, it's just we kind of talked about it too during our NFL preview. Like it was just like, okay, like the first 3 games, okay, yeah, they should be 3-0. That really big test was against the Baltimore Ravens, and then obviously they lost to Baltimore. Really, they got smacked around. I know, and it was just like, and he was bitching at the Ravens for trying to run it up, so they can get this 100-yard record thing, so that type of thing. I mean, that should have been a red flag right there. Like he's just like, man, dude, like, even after that Cowboys victory too, it felt like he was arrogant as well, kind of patting himself on the shoulder. I'm like, look at what I can do. But then you literally lose the next week to Philadelphia.
Right, exactly. And it felt like every time they would take a step forward, they would take 2 steps backwards. And that loss to Philadelphia was certainly that. You have any time that it felt like, okay, this might be when they turn the corner. It was, like I said, followed up by a huge step backwards. This was the first year, Bushy, and it was only because the schedule was so easy that the Broncos won a game under Vic Fangio in September.
I know, and they decided, yeah. And it was just very, very frustrating as far as with that. And it's funny, too, how, the Bronco team in 2019, they started off slow, but then they really finished strong. I guess you can kind of make the case, too, for 2020, even though, yeah, it was kind of a farce year. I mean, it was kind of the opposite. They started out hot. They were looking pretty good. And then they really failed miserably, losing their last 3 games.
Again, like I said, this year was the closest he came to the playoffs. And it was only, again, because the schedule was so monumentally easy.
Actually, I take it back. They lost their last 4 games.
Right.
I take it back. That Cincinnati game as well, yeah.
Right. They lost their last 4 games. In 2020, they lost their last 3 games. Again, 2 of those division contests. And if you look at 2020, he lost 5 of his last 6 games, with the only win being a win against Carolina. I mean, he was not good when it counted. He was not good in September. He was not a very good coach. He had no idea how to clock manage, and we saw that throughout. He had no idea how to challenge. And people that are making excuses for him, what magical formula do you think he's going to get, even if he has Aaron Rodgers, that's going to make you think that the Broncos are favored in any of those games next season? Next season, they're playing the NFC West, which is arguably the strongest division in football.
They are playing the NFC West, but thankfully they get the Jets, but they do get the Ravens next year as far as with like the scheduling thing. So yeah, the schedule really does not favor as well. Obviously, it's just very, very frustrating because this is probably the most talented team I think since the 2016 team. And they just really couldn't get it done. And it was just a bunch of clock management too, and a bunch of challenges too. I mean, I know everybody's come to his defense, but I'm like, yeah, like he's good on the coordinator side, but not good on the game management side.
Right.
And the fact too that, he still was headstrong on keeping Pat Shermer and keeping Tom McMahon, the special teams coach, when all is said and done, and it's just very, very frustrating. It was just like all speed ahead for him.
Absolutely. And I'm going to screen share right now because this NFL memes graphic sums it up the best. Right now, the Broncos have the second longest postseason drought of any team in the NFL. You can see it right there. It is a travesty that the Broncos are even on this list. And once again, there are higher expectations. I'm proud of what George Payton has done. By firing Vic Fangio, he is setting the standard. It says this is not acceptable. We are a playoff team. He's got a good list of head coaching candidates lined up. I think that this is a first step towards greatness for the Broncos.
Were they in 2016? So, yeah, I mean, it's just – it really is frustrating, because really, I mean, won the Super Bowl and then, yeah, haven't had a playoff appearance since in 6 years. I mean, it's just it's really, really frustrating to think about. I mean, yeah, you can always point to like the Jaguars and stuff, but at least the Jaguars have had a recent postseason appearance. The same with the Texans, same with the Browns. They've all had recent postseason appearances as well.
Right. So
Same
it's
with the
funny.
Lions. Same
Yeah,
with the Lions. You can trash the Lions all you want. At least they've had a postseason appearance.
absolutely. I mean, obviously, the only team that we have an edge right now, smack talking wise, on is maybe the Jets, and like you said, maybe the Browns and the Lions and some of these teams that have never sniffed the Super Bowl. But like I said, Vic Fangio was a trash head coach. Let him go be a coordinator wherever he wants, but get him out of here. Like I said, I'm so excited that he's gone.
I am. I am so happy he's gone, and it's just hopefully we get a good thing going. And again, I feel like this is all fallen on Joe Ellis. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago during the thing. I feel like all this is really starting to fall under Joe Ellis and all that. I mean, he really should take a lot of the blame for this. I mean, yeah, Elway should take a blame as well, but I feel like Joe Ellis is getting kind of a free pass for some reason. But he's the one that's kind of letting this thing going on. So I'm happy for him that he's gone. Same with Elway. Who knows with the ownership situation? So we'll have to wait and see with that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so good to see the Broncos kind of moving on from like this dark era that has been the last 5-6 years of Broncos football. I'm ready for a new start. I'm ready to go back to the old days of winning and, being excited for Sunday, being able to enjoy the games and just being, back to being a Broncos fan, back to celebrating wins, back to sitting at games, not next to opposing fans, but a sea of orange.
Yeah, see orange and blue and all that, and just having people just very, very excited and not just like, oh, like I went to the game last Saturday, and I swear to God, it felt like a death march or something like that. I mean, it was just the mood was just very, very like, that type of thing. Obviously, the game was a lot better than we expected. I think that was just what we were expecting. We were expecting KC to just come in and score, and they were going to beat us 35, 17, that type of thing. But I mean, they really kept it competitive as far as with that. But yeah, and it's a shame too. But we got to talk about Melvin Gordon. I mean, really, he's had 2 fumbles this year that really cost us the games and really could have helped the Denver Broncos. I saw their wins; they were 8.5 wins. 2 Melvin Gordon fumbles cost people who had the over.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Melvin Gordon against the Chiefs fumbling at the worst time, against the Eagles fumbling at the worst possible time. And this is a guy who already has Javonte Williams breathing down his neck for his job. And, I mean, the fumbles are going to be what cost him his job. He is not a guy who's popular here because people view that the ownership, and I mean, not the ownership, but Ellis and Elway favored him over a guy who was much more popular in the area, and Philip Lindsay. And imagine the tandem of Williams as a power back and Lindsay as like that scat back. That would be a perfect combination of running back.
Well, and it's the case too of Pat Shurmur as well. I feel like Pat Shurmur really wasted the potential too of Philip Lindsay as well. So yeah, and same with Javonte Williams. We'll have to see with the new coach what he does. But yeah, I mean, it really is just frustrating because it's just Melvin Gordon doesn't fumble a lot, but when he fumbles, it really means a lot more. I mean, it happened during that Dolphins game last year. I mean, people forget about that. Like he fumbled on the goal line when the Broncos were going to go in to probably go up 2 scores against the Dolphins. But no, he fumbles at the 1 yard line. So I mean, he has a tendency to fumble at the really worst times.
Yeah, he's going to be gone too, I would imagine. I think that he's got to be. And then you look at it, Shermer's gone, but I mean, obviously, firing may not have even been enough for Shermer. Honestly, we should have tarred and feathered him or something on his way out of town.
Oh man, I mean, I never understood the hire when they hired him. It was just, I just felt like it really. I mean, it was just a bad move. Really, it was just a bad move.
Horrible move. Now let's talk about the future. Who do you want to see in that head coaching role of the people that have been announced as potential interviews?
I mean, there still could be a potential interview. Maybe after the first round, maybe they fire a couple of people, that type of thing. I would maybe like one of the Green Bay guys. I mean, it just seems like from what we have kind of seen and all that. I mean, I really would like Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, I think that would probably be my choice. Not so much as like the Rodgers factor, but it's just like a breath of fresh air, an offensive guy. Maybe he has a little more creativity or something like that as well going on. And this was a guy too that helped Blake Bortles to have a good season. He was, I think he was like an offensive guy during the Jaguars when they were literally a quarter away from going to the Super Bowl as well. So, I mean, that alone is a good resume for me.
Nathaniel Hackett is at the very tippy top of my list too. He's definitely among my favorite candidates in this pool. Probably top two for me, him and Eric Bieniemy, a guy that I think could come in and do some dynamic play calling for the Broncos. And, I mean, look at the Broncos. Obviously, they had a great defense when they won the Super Bowl, but they have the personnel on defense right now with Surtain, with Simmons, and Shelby Harris, and I mean, just a really deep corner safety, really deep secondary to achieve some great things, no matter who the DC is. And you're going to have some guys coming back off of injury. Maybe you draft a good edge rusher, hopefully Chubb with another year, finally getting healthy, come in and make an impact. I mean, the Broncos on defense have a lot of studs. On offense, they have a lot of studs. And I think it's time that, an offensive coach can really start to maybe get an explosive offense like we saw when the Broncos went to the Super Bowl and won it in 2015.
Right, yeah, and then actually going to the Super Bowl in 2013, obviously the best scoring offense too, and that was creativity as well. I know it was all most of it was Peyton Manning and all that, but I mean it really was crazy and having great wide receivers as well. And yeah, I mean it's just it really is just kind of stalemate when it's. I don't really like this zag stuff. They've zagged twice. We're trying to go with like these defensive people as well. Sometimes you got to go, okay, let's go with the grain. Let's go with this offensive guy as well. Maybe they give something different as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that's where you got to go. I think you got to go offense here. You got to change things up, and you got to bring in someone who, has that explosive play calling thing. Just because fans haven't seen a good offense in Denver in 6 years. And people will stick around for good offense, even if the butts are in the seats. People are going to stick around for good offense.
Right. I mean, I would just like a team with an actual good offense. I think it would be good if they actually had a sustainable offense. I feel like this team, if they actually did have a sustainable offense this year, this team would have been 9, 10, 11 wins this year. That's the frustrating thing. It was just like one game they look amazing, one game they didn't. And it really was kind of a frustrating thing.
One of the most frustrating things I've ever seen. I think, like I said, I want to see Hackett or Bieniemy, one of these guys who can put together an explosive offense, come in here. And, I mean, obviously Bieniemy with his familiarity with the Chiefs too might have that ability to beat the Chiefs. We've seen a lot of assistants be able to beat their former head coaches. We saw with Brian Flores, who's now unemployed in Miami, that he was able to get Bill Belichick's number every time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he always find a way to get under his skin the past 3 years. I mean, the Dolphins were definitely a really good team. I mean, and it's just, I mean, you got to give Flores at least a little credit. I know you mentioned the schedule or something like that, but really, I mean, even with that easy schedule, you still, if you started out 1-7, you still could have fell apart as far as with that. But he kind of rode the ship.
He did. I mean, they had an impressive win over the Ravens in there. They did beat the Saints, who were close to a playoff team. So I said, I don't get the decision to move on from him at all. Like I said, I think what he achieved the last few years with Tua, I mean, I think is as good as anyone's going to achieve with Tua. And like I said, the problem with Fangio was that he didn't win division games. Ryan Flores this season was 4-2 against the division this year.
And those 2 losses were against Buffalo. I mean, really, that was really the only nemesis team for him was the Buffalo Bills. But when it came to the Jets and when it came to the Pats, he beat them both.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I don't get that firing, but
how do you feel about Dan Quinn? I don't see it. Like that guy hasn't recovered since 28-3. Like it really has. That really is just like the case. That guy really hasn't recovered since 28-3. Yeah, they lost in the playoffs, but really, I mean, it was really just a downhill turn from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dan Quinn. I mean, he's a good name, but not a great name. I'm not a big Dan Quinn guy. I think you know he's a guy who can maybe get you to the playoffs, but he's not going to get you there.
I feel like he would be that slight upgrade over Vic Fangio, like just a
Right.
tiny bit slight upgrade over Vic Fangio.
Well, I think you're an upgrade over Vic Fangio.
Yes, yeah, I played a lot of Madden back in the day, you know.
Right.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it just I'm happy he's gone. It really was a good thing. I don't know. I was getting kind of nervous with even if they won, maybe they bring him back, that type of thing. I was going to be like, no, just end it, get it done with. It's not working. If there's anything a blessing, it probably would be the Melvin Gordon fumble with him fumbling. That probably is kind of a blessing.
Yeah, because honestly, like I said, I don't know that I could have done another year under Fangio, and I mean, I said with next year's schedule, they would have been 5-12.
Yeah, they could have been. Yeah. It really was just the point of game management too. Like it's just his timeouts were terrible. The guy didn't know how to run a 2-minute drill to save his soul. And really he was the worst challenger. What?
He had no concept of when to challenge.
He had no concept of challenging. Like the challenging was awful. Like it was one of the worst challengings ever. Like seriously. Like it was just terrible. That was the only thing that didn't happen. He didn't have a bad challenge. During the Chiefs game. That was the only thing.
No, or else it'd have been a good final celebration for him.
Yeah, a bad challenge that somehow you're going, what? Yeah.
How's your White Claw?
Oh, it's delicious. Actually, I'm not drinking. I'm sorry. I haven't gotten tested yet, but I think I have that Omicron crap.
Well, I had it last week when we recorded. I feel bad for you. I'm drinking my scotch. I feel like it's a proper way to celebrate, so I'm drinking the scotch.
You know what? I may have a vodka tonic next week, just to kind of pre-celebrate. But I did a lot of celebrating afterwards. I mean, I was tailgating before and I had a ton of shots. So I definitely was celebrating beforehand and stuff. So it was very, very fun. And yeah, just had and I had a lot of drinking too that day before as well.
Which is probably why you have Omicron today.
Yeah, probably. Just party a little too hard. Omicron.
One thing I want to say is because the Broncos played on Saturday, I technically was right in that Vic Fangio was going to be the first coach fired outside of
one day,
because he technically was fired before Matt Nagy was.
One day. They both would have been fired on the same day if they played on a Sunday. If they both played on Saturday, they would have been fired on that Sunday.
Right.
But he's fired too. I'm happy. He got fired.
Yep.
He should have been fired 3 weeks ago.
So should have Vic Fangio, but in any event.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by McAllan 12-year Double Oak. This is a delicious bottle. Our good friend Sui Hong bought this for me one year. It is delicious. It is smooth. It is fantastic scotch. I tell you this much. You cannot find a better bottle than this for under $100.
Ooh. May have to have that at your wedding. You got to have that at your wedding now.
I might. If they send me 2 bottles, I will have it at the wedding.
Yes, there you go. Yes, that's what I want. Because I'm very excited.
McAllen 12-year Double Oak.
Isn't it Omicron killer?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's good protecting against Omicron, against herpes, against anything you want.
Drake's hot sauce condoms too. So, do you think Kodak Black had a little bit? Do you think Kodak Black had a little bit of it? At the Florida Panthers game.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
Maybe he did. Getting a little fun.
I just know it's delicious. And I said I am drinking it straight. No ice needed. It is that smooth.
That's good. I'll have to take your word for it. I'm not a big Scotch guy, but I'll have to take your word for it.
Any Scotch drinkers out there? MacAllan Double Oak. Cheers.
All right, and that's for the fake promotion of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag McCallen when I tweet this out and see if they will end up sponsoring the show.
Yeah. Bring more. I'll drink it. I'll drink some scotch. Yeah, we'll celebrate life's necessaries.
All right. So where do you want to go next, Bushy? Do you want to examine the playoff picture, or do you want to look at our NFL over/under list and see how bad we did?
Let's rip the Band-Aid. I mean, we were very, very bad. I was mediocre. Let's put it that way. I was mediocre.
Well, at least I beat you in the bowls, but yeah, this was rough.
Yeah, but I beat you in the over/unders. I went 16-16. You went 11-21.
Well, I mean, some of these, like the Texans, well, that's where we're going to start because we had them at the least wins. We had them at 4 wins. We both had the under. They ended up with exactly 4 wins, so that means either way, the under or the over, we would have been wrong. And, I mean, they won some games that they definitely shouldn't have. They snuck one out against the Chargers. They snuck one out against the Titans. So, honestly, this under, I felt pretty good about it. I still feel pretty good about it. They eked out a couple. Like I said, they beat the Titans when the Titans had, like, Ryan Tannehill and a bunch of practice squad guys. And they beat the Chargers in a COVID game. So, I mean, they beat the Jaguars the week after they fired Urban Meyer. So, I think the perfect storm of things worked out for the Texans to get to 4 wins.
Yeah, they lucked out too, beating the Texans twice. So, that kind of helped with them as well. So, yeah, that's the one that's the one I'm kind of upset about. I'm like, we thought they were going to be a bad team. And they fired their coach too. So,
right. They were a bad team. They were a very bad team. They finished with exactly 4 wins. So, like I said, unless you're betting the exact, which you really can't go bet in Vegas.
Yeah, we thought they were going to be like a 3-14,
right.
2-15 team.
I mean, I don't care. Like I said, I mean, I think that where we really made our money was on the Tennessee Titans. I think them being predicted at 9 wins was a travesty. And even without Derrick Henry, they show that they are a very good team. And I mean, I think that they did what we expected them to do. They super exceeded that group.
They did. We were on that. We were like, this is too low. 9 wins is too low. This team was at least going to win 11 to 12 games this year, and it turned out to be true. They were 12-5, and actually a surprisingly number 1 seed. We did not predict them to go number 1, but we did predict them to at least win the division and have a really high number of wins too. So I got to pat ourselves on the back on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they're going to have a fresh, hungry, ready to go Derrick Henry for the playoffs.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how he performs. I mean, he could be a giant X factor going into the playoffs next week.
Yep, I can't wait for that. Like I said, the Texans, we took our L there. The Detroit Lions, we had them under 4.5 wins. We got that right. They didn't win that many games, and really, they showed up against the Packers, though.
Yeah, they showed up. They were definitely a competitive team, and yeah, that's all you can say. They were competitive,
right?
But they were bad.
All right, I should have taken the under on the Jets. I took exact on the Jets. You took the under. You get the win there.
Yep, I get the win. I knew the Jets were going to be bad. They were a little frisky. I did talk about them being a little bit of a frisky team, but really, I mean, this team is still a year or two away from being an actual competitive team.
I thought they were going to beat the Broncos and get Vic Fangio fired.
And that was not going to happen.
Obviously, it didn't. We look at that. You take your L's. None of these I put any real money on, so it's okay.
Yeah, we took big L's on the Philadelphia Eagles, man. That was a big L for us. We thought they were going to be a really bad team this year. Yeah, we thought they were going to be a bad team, but obviously they exceeded expectations. And really, I mean, now they're a playoff team.
They look like a bad team. They went 2-5 to start the season. They look like a bad team.
Yeah, they look like a bad team, but a lot of it helped too that they really, based on like the schedule wise. I mean, they really didn't beat a team that made it to the playoffs, so they really kind of benefited from the schedule as well.
Yeah, they didn't beat one playoff team. Wow.
Yeah, they didn't beat one playoff team. So,
spoiler alert for the playoff preview. I think they get stopped this week by the Buccaneers.
Yep. Big under on Jacksonville. We predicted under on that one, so happy with us. Pat ourselves on the back for that one.
I can't believe I must have been drunk when we made these predictions a while ago.
Yeah.
And not the good kind of drunk like I'm getting on my MacAllan Double Oak. But I must have gone under to be drunk. I must have picked the Bengals under 6.5 wins. They made some big strides this year. They look good. I didn't see that coming.
I did not see that coming. I had them. I was re-listening to the podcast, and I had them on a slight over. So I thought they were going to at least be like a 7-win team. So they really exceeded expectations this year. But I feel like this is the everything that went right year for them. So I'm predicting it now. I think they're going to be the drawback. They're going to be the drop-off team next year.
Certainly is a possibility. Like I said, we'll have to see how they keep drafting. I mean, they've made a really good pick with Jamar Chase. Getting him with Joe Burrow, I mean, that's been a money combination.
Yeah, it's been a money combination for the past 3 weeks. I mean, it really has helped Cincinnati get into the playoffs and win the division. I mean, I didn't think we expect them to win the division this year.
Definitely not. The Las Vegas Raiders, I had them under their 7 wins, and technically, if the Broncos beat them twice, that would have put them pretty close to that.
I mean, it was kind of looking that way, but then they got hot right at the end. Really, I mean, they were the anti-Fangio, so they really got hot at the right time. And yeah, I mean, this team really does feel like a 7-9 team. It really does, a 7-10 team. Really. I mean, they just really kind of lucked out scheduling wise again with like COVID and all that, and then playing against really about to be fired Vic Fangio as well too, and then the Colts collapsing as well, and then really the Chargers basically being the Chargers. They really kind of lucked out with a lot of these wins.
They have a minus 65 point differential, which I think is the worst among teams with a winning record.
See, and I always feel like this way. We're going to see it probably next year. Derek Carr, obviously average quarterback. Average quarterbacks have this 1 year where everything goes right. They look amazing. They're getting all the calls with the pass interference, and they're looking good. They're looking stoic and all that. This is the year for Derek Carr. Next year, he's going to drop off, and they're probably going to be a 6 to 7 win team.
Probably they will go backwards. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
I think, once again, looking at the playoff preview, I don't think they stand much of a chance against the Bengals with the way Cincinnati's playing right
now. We'll see.
Who's your prediction? We got to do playoff predictions here.
Oh, I mean, it's just, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And obviously, Cincinnati Bengals have been a playoff cursed team. I mean, really, you can't factor that in, really. I mean, and it's like both teams, too. I mean, really, the Raiders haven't won a game since 2002, the year they went to the Super Bowl, and then obviously the Bengals haven't won a game since '91. So I mean, this is really 2 20+ year streaks going against each other right now.
So who wins it? I told you that I'm picking the Bengals. So who you got?
I think the Raiders. I think the Raiders win the game. As much as I hate it, I think the Raiders win the game. I think they have this weird mojo going on right now.
All right. Interesting pick from Bushy. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the next team on the list there.
The New York Giants.
How did I pick them at 7 wins? What the hell?
What are you doing? Were you drunk or something like that? Yeah. Yeah, you were drunk. I predicted under. I didn't think this was a very good team. And they weren't a very good team, and now their coach is fired.
Yep.
But their fans did get a free large soda, so they got a free large Pepsi, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Fan appreciation.
Well, they were a bad team. So I mean, the Falcons, like I said, I had them on the under there, so I got a win there. You had them as an over, so I mean, at least there, I got one up on you there. I did.
But I thought they were going to be a slight over. I thought they were going to be like an 8-win team. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it looked okay. I mean, but it's just like, yeah, they were just terrible. I mean, we talked about it during the season. Just like, how is this team like flirting with 500? Like, they should be like a 4-win team, 4 or 5-win team.
They have one of the worst defenses in football.
They do, and somehow they're still like really good for
They're
for
not
some
that
reason,
good. They
or
just
they're like mediocre, which is like in Falcon standards, that's good.
again, they played the NFC East. That's half their wins right there.
There we go. They lucked out with that, and
The
they played the
Carolina
Jets too.
Panthers both had the under. We both took the win there. I think they're still a while away from being good.
They are, and it really, I mean, and now their owners having buyer's remorse really with the whole Matt Rule scenario too. So, I mean, we could see Matt Rule maybe as like first coach fired next year. I mean, he could be a dark horse first coach fired next year.
Yeah, he's got to be the favorite, I would think, for that, right?
I mean, I think
That is the
you're
worst
right.
case
I think you're right. I think he's probably going to be the betting favorite going in next year. We'll have to do that next year during our NFL preview. The first coach fired.
Yep. Which Urban Meyer threw a monkey wrench in that this year, or else I'd have been right.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears, obviously, we talked about it. I had a lot more faith in them this year. They were a playoff team a year ago. They looked like they were poised to make some strides, and then, it didn't happen.
Yep, and now their coach and GM are gone, and really they're kind of stuck in this NFL limbo, really.
Yep.
They really are. For the next couple of years, they're going to be stuck in this NFL limbo. I mean, who knows what Fields – is he going to take that leap, really, with like a new coach or something like that?
Nope. No, he's not.
No, he's not. Okay.
I said, name me one Ohio State quarterback that's done anything.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. The Mike Tomczak, baby.
Exactly. That's the point. Steelers, I think the Steelers were an obvious over at 8.5 wins, even though they weren't great this year and they needed to do it almost at the end there. They were a team that Mike Tomlin's always good for, feels like, for 9 wins.
Yeah, 9 wins. We were kind of really on that dial. We were like, this is going to be a perfect 9-win team, really, where it's just like they're going to win games where you're like, how do they win this game? And then they lose games where you're like, how do they lose this game? Really.
And tie the Lions, and you wonder how they tie Lions.
Yeah, they really lucked out with the tie. If really there was a tie, it really kind of came back to really kind of benefit them. If they really had lost that game, I don't think they get in the playoffs with that loss. Speaking
of which, let's talk about it. That tie, the proposed tie at the end of the game between the Raiders and the Chargers last week. Do you think if Brandon Staley doesn't call that timeout, the Raiders take the tie?
I mean, I feel like it's like a he said kind of thing as far as with that. I mean, I wouldn't be. I think it would have been true if they happened to do that as well. I mean, it really is. I mean, it really has to be frustrating to be really a Chargers fan, all 12 of them. Really. I mean, it's just, I don't know. With Herbert now, they're up to 15, I think. So they added 3 more fans this year.
They did.
They added 3 more fans. So it's just very, very, very frustrating because it's just, you clawed your way back. I mean, they were down 15. It wasn't like it was like kind of this back and forth. Oh, it's like 10-10. They kick a field goal. We kick a field goal. No, they were down. They had to make this amazing comeback even to get into overtime as well. And then really lose it at the end, really, and had this proposed tie where they really were going to run out the clock. I mean, that's just got to be frustrating.
Yeah, obviously very frustrating game. I don't know. It's going to be one of the great conspiracy theories. It's a future 30 for 30 special waiting. Would there have been a tie? I can't wait for the 30 for 30 10 years from now.
I mean, it's just, we'll have to wait and see with that. But I believe so. I think they were just going to run out the clock. They were just going to run right up the middle. They were going to run a Pat Shurmur offense really to really just kind of blow out the clock and be like, hey, let's get this tied. Let's both get in the playoffs. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And now it doesn't happen, and somehow the Raiders are a 5th seed.
Staley proved he was part of the Vic Fangio coaching tree, and he called a timeout when he had no business calling the timeout. There was no situation where he would have gotten the ball back with any time on the clock. So why do you take timeout there?
Well, he took a timeout because he wanted to get the good run defense, but literally the next play, they gave up 12, 13 yards on that play. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's ridiculous.
Like I said, it's a Vic Fangio timeout.
The Vic Fangio timeout. Yep, the good old Vic timeout.
Save the timeout and use it on the next play to ice Daniel Carlson.
Yeah, he didn't take a timeout. They had another timeout, too.
Like, why don't you ice him? At that point, it's for your season, man.
Again, he came from the Vic Fangio coaching tree, so his timeouts are unexplainable.
He might be another one for next year who might be on the list for potential first coach fired. If they struggle out the gate, he might be gone.
That could be a dark horse. I like that.
Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. 8.5 wins. We both thought was way too low for this team. They came out and proved it. And if DeAndre Hopkins hadn't been hurt, they might have been the 1 seed, I think.
It might have been a 1 seed, but they showed too that Cliff Kingsbury really is not a good second half coach. So yeah, they really lucked out from having a good first half of the season. Really, if not, they really could have been flirting with this 8.5 wins. But yeah, we predicted the over. We thought they were going to be a 10-win team. Obviously, it showed, and we kind of lucked out with that.
I don't think we lucked out. Like I said, I think obviously if DeAndre Hopkins had been healthy the whole season, this is a team that probably wins 13 games.
It probably wins as well, yeah. But I never really believed in Arizona. I really wasn't I never really liked Arizona this year.
I liked them.
Yeah. I mean, I did predicted the over, but that was about it.
I don't know why I also predicted the over for Washington.
I think it really
depends. Too much Mike Greenberg, and he said, "Oh yeah, put it on the Redskins this year." Or not the football team, sorry.
What? No.
I'm just glad I didn't call the Chargers San Diego. I always do that.
You just had a little too much scotch, and I think I had a little too much scotch as well. As well with that Washington pick, man. I mean, it's just, I think it all depends too on drink that. McKenna 12,
McAllen 12.
McAllen 12. My bad. I'm sorry, McAllen 12.
McKinnon 12. That's your Avalanche fandom.
Yeah, the McKinnon 12, baby. No, I mean, it's just, it really is.
If I get rich, I'm going to make my own whiskey. I'm going to call it McKinnon, and then I'm going to age it 29 years.
There you go. Not 30, just 29. Perfect for McKinnon. All right. No, it's just, I thought too, we talked about it as well. It really was like Fitzpatrick, because Fitzpatrick, I think people forget, like Fitzpatrick was supposed to be the quarterback for the Washington football team. So I thought a lot of it really depended on that. And then once he got hurt literally in the first game, I think our over bet really went out the window.
I mean, I think I had them beating the Eagles twice, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
I think my ranking was predicated on them beating the Eagles both times.
Yeah, both times. And then maybe sneaking out a Dallas win, and then probably definitely beating the Giants twice.
If it wasn't for that terrible kicker, they would have beaten the Broncos.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, they would have beaten the Broncos. Yeah, if it wasn't for the kicker. Yeah. And I think Melvin Gordon fumbled then too.
He probably did.
I think, yeah, he fumbled too.
I'm going to look that up. I mean, obviously, we talked about it earlier. We both took our L's on the Broncos. And then we both took our L's on the Saints too. And I want to look at that one too. Obviously, my bet on the Saints was predicated on Trevor Siemian never getting a snap for the Saints.
Right, but we did predict the over of like 9 wins, but I mean they did win 9-8. I mean that's right, just so really a good testament. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean we did predict the over, but we thought this was maybe like a 10-win team as far as with that. But yeah, even with Trevor Siemian and all that, somehow they got to 9 wins really. So that's a good testament just how good of a coach Sean Payton is.
Right. I said he's an amazing coach. Like I said, I stand by that prediction. They had one more game where they didn't start Trevor Siemian. That's a 10-win team.
Yeah, and it's somehow they beat Tampa Bay twice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We already talked Tennessee, big win for us. We both picked the under on the Colts, and they also tied that 9 wins. So I think ties, you don't really count them as L's.
It was just frustrating too because we talked about this team was really hit with the injury bug before this season. That's what really predicated with it. We thought this team was really going to take a downhill approach really, and it was just like really with the health of Wentz too. And somehow he stayed relatively healthy, but somehow he screwed him over as well. And really, I mean, it's just I don't understand why he can't take a sack for some reason. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, his predication of just turning the ball over. Like, he took a sack/fumble against Jacksonville where it's just like, what is this?
By the way, good memory, Bushy. Yeah, Melvin Gordon did fumble again in that Washington game. and he was kind of bailed out by the fact that they went for it on fourth down, and it was at the end of the game and opened the door for Washington to literally have a chance at that game. It was he fumbled it with like 21 seconds left.
Another crucial Melvin Gordon fumble. Go figure.
The Washington just didn't cash in on it, but
yeah, Washington just didn't cash in on it.
Seconds left in the game.
Bushy has an amazing memory. He has this weird memory.
Hey, man, I'm impressed. I think the Cowboys surprised us a little bit with how dominant they were. I think we both kind of predicted Washington would be that team in that division. They weren't. Yeah,
we got screwed with the Cowboys. Yeah, we really effed up on the Cowboys. Really, I mean they were definitely the best team of the NFC East. Really, and it wasn't even close.
Not even close.
Not even close. They definitely were the best team. If I really had to do it over again, I probably would have been like, you know what, this team is going to go over. Like it's just
9 wins. Yeah, that'll
yeah. It's one of the things I kind of want to have back because I'm like I was really kind of lenient, but then I think you and I both talked to each other as far as with that, but obviously it helped.
Yeah, I want that one back. I want my over on the 9-win Minnesota Vikings back too.
Yes, this was.
I think I might be predicting that just based on my buddy Dax Larson. I thought for some reason the Vikings were going to be good. They are not good.
I mean, you did predict like this team was going to go like 10-7, so it wasn't like a case where you thought this was going to be a 13-4 team. You thought this team was going to be 10-7. I did take the under because I thought this was the perfect 500 team. And I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be that 9-8, 8-9 range.
And they were.
Sure enough, they were. And I just took the under.
Good play. We both took the under on Miami. Again, good play. They finished 9-8, which again I think is a huge.
We had to sweat it out a little bit. We had to sweat it out a little bit on that one.
Right. And then we both had the under on the Chargers for 9.5 wins. Again, had to sweat that one out a little bit, but
yeah, we had to sweat that up.
That would have been 9.5 wins.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean they should have 9.5 wins. Really, they technically should have 9.5 wins with that with that tie. But no, Brandon Staley decided, "Ooh, I'm Brandon Staley. I think I'm smarter than everybody." Really, I mean, they should have at least tied the Raiders.
So will I.
They at least should have tied the Raiders. They should have beaten the Chiefs on that Thursday night game where they decided I don't like field goal kickers.
Yeah. Oy.
I mean, you throw the Texans game out the windows because, like, really, I mean, both teams were really ravaged with COVID as far as with that. So that's kind of one of those weird games. But yeah, I mean, this team really, I think like the second half. Yeah, that last – yeah, I guess, like, from, like, December on, they were really bad.
Yeah, they're just lucky that they played the Fangio Broncos because they went 1-3 over the last 4. And they beat the Giants, and they somehow beat the Bengals, too. And they beat the Bengals badly.
They beat the Bengals badly, but it was that weird game, too, where they got up ahead, but then they let the Bengals storm back. And then really it was one Melvin Gordon-esque fumble that really turned the tide for the Chargers.
Very true.
Sorry, this is going to be a lot of Melvin Gordon bashing.
I'm here for it. The Seattle Seahawks, 10 wins. Ooh, we both went over there.
I mean, really, we thought it was just, the Wilson Carroll kind of that machine going that was going to lead them to 10 wins. And yeah, I mean, really, they saw they really completely fell off as well. And Wilson, for the first time in his career, really got hurt. Yeah, and I think that really derailed the season for them.
It did. And I think that's kind of the same case with the 10.5 win Cleveland Browns. I think Baker Mayfield with his torn labrum really shut down that team. I think that next year, if he's healthy, they're going to bounce back a little bit.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see with, who knows? He could be future Denver Broncos quarterback Baker Mayfield. Good God almighty. A Dan Quinn and Baker Mayfield led team. This is not the reality I don't want.
To drink some Mcallen 12 here.
Oh yeah, that makes me want to drink the Mcallen 12 and then some.
Let's talk about the Patriots though. We kind of skipped over them. I predicted another kind of rough year with the Mac Jones rookie experience. You called it. You called the Patriots bounce back. I should have predicted that because I should have known that was coming to make me miserable.
I mean, they were back. They are back. I mean, they did luck out really with the 10 wins as well. So I mean, and yeah, but I don't see it with Mac. I really don't. I feel like this is his best year, to be honest. I feel like we just saw Mac Jones's best year.
I don't know. I mean, he really doesn't have that good of weapons around him. They might be good coming up.
No, I don't think so.
I hope you're right.
I hope so too.
Green Bay over 10 wins. I feel like that was a layup.
Yeah, that was a layup just
That
given the
rest of that
division.
division was terrible. That's 6 wins right there.
Yeah, we kind of decided about that. But though, listening to the podcast, we thought this team would maybe take a little bit of a dive, and we thought maybe the Rodgers scandal from that offseason may have implemented it a little bit. But no, obviously they kept going as well with a little bit of Rodgers scandal, but it was more of like a COVID, and then obviously showing his toe as well. So, but yeah, I mean, this was really a resilient team.
They really were. And kind of with the Rams, too. I think we both kind of predicted that they were going to fall off a little bit. I didn't expect this resurgent year out of Stafford. He kind of comes in, does a good job with it. And, he really, really showed some strength this year. I got to give him credit.
Yeah, he did okay. And, yeah, they did the midseason trade for Von Miller.
They went all in, baby.
Yeah, they're going all in. I mean, this is really a team. I mean, we could be talking about literally in probably 2-3 years, probably being like, we see him probably their over unders maybe like 3.5, 4.5 wins. We probably could see that.
Certainly possible.
Yeah.
And I think we both kind of bought into the press preseason about the 49ers bouncing back. They were good, but I mean, 10.5 we should have known was a little lofty for that team.
Yeah, we read the press clippings on that one, and yeah, I mean, it was a team that really was playing well, and then had a little bit of a stumble. Like mid-December, but then really picked it up. And then really, I mean, they really, I don't know what happened in the Rams during the second half, but really, I mean, the Rams were dominating that game. And then, letting the 49ers really kind of come back in the second half.
Yeah, it was a crazy game, a good game. I'm glad I watched it. It was fun. But, yeah.
Also, I got to give a credit to the Von Miller. I mean, Von Miller talks about how this team is so much more talented than the 2015 Broncos. That's something the 2015 Broncos do not do, and that's lead, and that's have a Jimmy G comeback, really.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but there's a big difference, too, between Matt Stafford and Peyton Manning at quarterback.
Yeah.
Get that out of here.
Get that out of here. Yeah, we read the press clippings with the 49ers, and really that – I mean, it's one of those type of things. I mean, they were, but they're still a playoff team too. We did predict that they were going to be a playoff team,
and they were.
They were.
Now let's talk about the Buffalo Bills here, because I mean, we both picked the over on the Bills at 11 wins.
Yes.
And if the Bills don't lose this fluke ass game to the Jaguars 9-6, they're over. They made it to 11 wins, which was exactly right. But if they don't lose a fluke game to the Jaguars, they are a 12-win team.
And it really is one of the most frustrating. This was one of the most frustrating teams really this year with the Bills, because it's just because some games they look amazing, they look great, and then some games you like that Jaguars game, you're going like, what in the world is going on? What in the world is going on? It's
probably still the biggest fluke loss of the season.
Oh, yeah, it still is. And it's just very, very, very frustrating because I predicted that they were going to be the number one seed. Obviously, that didn't happen. I mean, really, if they probably would have beaten the Titans in that Monday night game too, they probably would be the number one seed.
True. And then Baltimore, I'm going to throw out Baltimore as a mulligan too. We make these predictions under the assumption that people are going to stay healthy. No Lamar Jackson, this is not that good of a team.
I mean, I did mention it too, that Lamar was really the X factor that really, I mean, it all really depended on him. If he was healthy, this team was going to thrive. And I'd probably get that 11 wins. We thought this was going to be an 11-win team. But I mean, this is a team that really did look strong until, and then they pulled the Fangio, really.
Well, and then, like I said, Lamar getting hurt. I'm sorry, no offense to Tyler Huntley, but I mean, without Lamar, this is not as good of a team.
But they've had but they had like some weird losses too. Remember going for 2 against Pittsburgh, going 2 against Green Bay,
losing again to Pittsburgh last week.
losing again to Pittsburgh last week. Yeah, they've really had some frustrating losses the second half of the season.
They did, but do those losses happen with Lamar in there? Right now.
Maybe the Green Bay game, yeah, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
But Lamar was the quarterback to that Pittsburgh game when they went for 2. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they win that. And then they had they lost to Miami too on that Thursday night. That was a weird game as well.
Yep. Now let's talk about, obviously we both picked the Buccaneers for the over on that one. We were both right.
Yeah.
Easy
this was a great team. Easy layup, over 12 wins.
Easy layup. Good team. Weak division. Easy win.
But they still lost to the Saints twice.
And they still lost to the Saints twice. Once again, Sean Payton is a master. And KC was the last team. 12.5 wins. 12 wins is what they end up with. I'm sure there's a game where that they should have lost, that they should have won and didn't. Obviously, you look at the Ravens game. They lose by 1. They lose by 6 to the Chargers. There's a couple of losses in there that they really shouldn't have had. Even the loss to the Bengals. They were in all the games that they lost with the exception of the one against the Titans and the Bills.
Yeah, and they really should have lost games in which they won. They really – yeah, they should have lost that. They really should have lost that Chargers game, that second Chargers game.
The Giants almost had them.
Yeah, the Giants almost lost to them. They should have lost. Really, if it wasn't for, stupid line play and a Melvin Gordon fumble, they probably would have lost to the Broncos this week.
They should have.
Yeah.
Hey.
I know.
12.5. They ended up with 12. I'm not mad at that pick.
Nah, we thought they were going to be like a 13 win team, really. So yeah, I'm not mad.
Let's talk playoffs now. Obviously, you already called it. You're picking the Raiders. I'm picking the Bengals this week. I got the Patriots beating the Bills in Buffalo just because that's the most historic thing to happen. The Patriots going into Buffalo and giving those fans some more misery.
All right, I got a weird prediction. Here we go. The Bills are going to win, but somehow they're going to win on a stupid rule or something like that. This is going to be like a tuck rule-esque game, and somehow the Bills win, and this is the downfall of the Patriots. Let's go.
I hope you're right.
I hope if not, I'm going to blame COVID.
I think we both have the Buccaneers beating the Eagles.
Yeah, it probably will be a little bit closer, but yeah, Tommy will find a way to beat the Eagles.
And get that demon off his back from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Give me the Cowboys at home against the Niners.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Nickelodeon game, so I'm really, really excited about that one. This is going to be the Nickelodeon game, so good. It's a lot better than Saints Bears last year, so I'm very excited about that. Probably the most watchable game other than Patriots Bills. Yeah,
I'm excited for Arizona LA on Monday night too.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, but I'm not a fan of the Monday night game, really. I want my 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Get me that. Yes, sorry.
Well,
sorry, ESPN, you get the crap game.
I don't see how it's not a huge advantage for whatever team the winner of that Monday night game plays next week because they're going to have one less day to rest. They might be. That's going to be a tough one.
It is going to be a tough one. Do you see the Steelers really putting up a fight against the Chiefs? Or
I don't. But maybe this is like when Ray Lewis declared his retirement and the Ravens played all inspired for him.
Yeah.
They give Big Ben this glorious send-off. They somehow end up in the playoffs for no reason because the Colts shouldn't have lost to the Jaguars. The Raiders and Chargers did everything they could to tie, and somehow Brandon Staley must have money on the Steelers to win the Super Bowl or something because like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they pull it off and for no reason. But I got to pick the Chiefs just because logically it should happen.
It should happen, and they dominated the Steelers 3 weeks ago, so that's usually going to be the case. But yeah, it's just Yeah, I mean it'd be like a weird thing. Like really, I mean, it's just you're really all they need now is like Casey Hayward to like basically pull a Chemo Van Olhoffen on a Patrick Mahomes. Really, that
Yep.
may help him a lot.
Or TJ Watt.
Yeah, TJ Watt somehow gets under him.
Yep. And Arizona, LA, who do you got?
Give me LA. I think LA finds a way to win. They really luck out playing against the Cardinals. I know we kind of mentioned, but it's just like the Cardinals just really aren't the same as they were in the first half of the season.
Right. Now, I think both of us had both of our Super Bowl picks still intact, though. You had Bills, Packers, right?
Bills, Packers, still good.
And then I had the Titans against the Buccaneers, right?
Yeah, and somehow that's still good.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at mine either. I mean, I think if the Bills get past this game, I think they have a good shot at making the Super Bowl. They got to get past this game, though.
They got to get past this game, and then they face the Chiefs potentially next week, or do they?
It may be. I mean, if not, we'll see. We'll see Steelers against Titans. As far as with that,
I would love that.
Then we'll get Bills against the Raiders against Bengals, man.
That would really help my pick, I think.
If the Chiefs lose,
yeah, I feel a lot better about it if the Steelers get if the Titans get the Steelers in the second round. I feel a lot better about it.
I don't know, really, except for that run in 2019. Really, the Titans' playoff history has been very, very bad. Really, until that Super Bowl run and then that, but they've had a lot of like one and done type of years. They did make it to the AFC Championship game a couple of times, but that's about it.
Yep. Yep. And you have the Bills. I don't think you have much of a reason to talk there.
Yeah, really.
About recent history for people.
Yeah, but at least they made the playoffs a lot more than the Denver Broncos.
True. In any event, Vic Fangio being fired.
Yes.
Enjoy the playoffs this week. This would be exciting. I can't wait.
Yep. I'm excited, man. I mean, playoff. Again, I'm just mad, though, that we have a Monday night game. Really, I mean, they'd luck out, too, with the Cardinals against the Rams. But it's just like, I'm not a fan of Monday night playoff games. Like, it's just playoffs need to be on a Saturday and a Sunday, okay? College football's over. You keep it on a Saturday. You keep it on a Sunday, okay?
ESPN wants that money, baby.
Give me the 3 games. Come on. This is the reason why you got the crap game every year where you played against the Bengals against the NFC or the AFC South winner. This is why. This is why everybody kind of hates ESPN, kind of that way.
Well, there's a lot of reasons to hate ESPN, but
yeah.
In any event, once again, this episode has been brought to you by MacAllan 12-year Double Oak. Thanks again, Sweet Hong. And cheers once again, Vic Fangio going away party. It's been successful.
Yes.
I've had a lot of fun with it.
Yes, I'm very, very happy, and I'm very, very, and that's my treat. I get COVID, so.
Well, my treat is the McAllen and Vic Fangio gone. I can't be happier.
And we'll have a new owner, so yeah.
Enjoy the playoffs this weekend. Go back and watch all of our other episodes. Check us out on Twitter at SP Bushy. Check us out on Spotify. And give us some likes and share us with your friends. Get a bigger audience here. Why not?
Yep, and check us out on Spotify too.
Yep. Bingo.
All right, thank you. Peace, guys.
Peace.